All right. So what baby boomers need to know about retirement income and particularly Social Security is the topic for today. I've split this about 6-7 years ago. Suzanne had asked me to split the presentations into a beginning Social Security presentation and then an advanced. And the reason we do this is because it's such a complex topic and there's so many different facets to it that I want to ensure that we're covering everything for you. And again, this is for you. So if you have a question, please feel free to unmute yourself and interrupt me, no problem whatsoever. I want to make sure we get all the questions answered. So today's presentation with regards to Social Security is about giving you a basic framework or understanding of the different relevant terms within Social Security and what you can expect from Social Security. Here's the number one problem I see. People are hurting their retirements by making these terrible, costly decisions regarding Social Security. And why are they doing this? A lot of times because they're misinformed or they're concerned about things they really shouldn't be concerned about. So here are a couple things to understand and know about Social Security. First of all, you have a ton of claiming options, and we go through some more of those and some real-life examples in Advanced Social Security, which is a week from Friday. That's a little bit short of a presentation, but I will go through actual scenarios and different things that I have seen. Your decisions have far-reaching consequences, particularly if you are the higher income earner in the family. You really, really want to be cognizant of when you select your Social Security benefit and when you take it, because it could have lifelong impacts on your retirement income. Each choice impacts both spouses, and I'm going to go through some numbers here in a second, but I want to be clear that the system is not bankrupt nor a Ponzi scheme. I'll go through the latest numbers that I have, and that benefits likely will help a family member through the survivor benefit. And just remember, friends, CPAs, attorneys, some certainly can give good advice on Social Security, but the majority of them, I would say, are not Social Security experts. It really pays to get the correct advice because it is your retirement benefit. You've earned it through your hard work, through your life, so you want to make sure you maximize it. So will it be there for me? Simple answer is yes, especially for most baby boomers. I'm going to go through that here in a second. We're also going to talk about how much you can expect to receive from Social Security and when you should apply for Social Security benefits, how to maximize that benefit, and the simple answer to the bottom one, will Social Security be enough to live on in retirement alone? The answer is no for most of you, particularly if you make a decent income there at UCSD or in your private sector job. Social Security, on average in this country, replaces about 33% of one's retirement income or current income before retirement. And about 1/3 of this country, their only form of income in retirement is Social Security. So it's a very, very important benefit that is part of the U.S. financial system. All right, so understanding the value of Social Security. Will it be there for me? Let's talk about, actually, will Social Security be there for me? Let's talk about the OISDI Trust Fund, Old Age Survivor Disability Insurance Trust Fund. There are actually two different Social Security funds. One is the disability fund and one is the regular fund. I'm just going to speak about the regular one, that is the income benefit that you'll receive in retirement. Trust fund balance as of the end of 2019 was about $2.9 trillion. In 2020, despite the fact that we had a recession, the pandemic, et cetera, a lot less people working, almost 10% unemployment, there was a net increase in assets of $10.9 billion. And Social Security paid out in expenditures $1.1 trillion to beneficiaries. How does that work? Well, Social Security, through your payroll taxes, takes in the money and then turns around and immediately gives it right back out to beneficiaries the same month. And that's what those expenditures and income are, right? And when there's an excess, then it goes into the Social Security Trust Fund balance. I don't have the latest numbers for 21 or 22. 22 numbers should be coming out here in the trustee report in October, but I don't have 21 numbers as of right now. Hopefully I'll have those for you a week from Friday. Anyhow, long-term projections, right, without reform, and this has stayed pretty consistent since I began this presentation at UCSD in 2009. If we don't reform Social Security in some way or another, by 2034, it's not going to go bankrupt because, again, you have people like myself out there working and putting money in every month, and that is immediately getting paid out in benefits at the same time. So it won't go bankrupt per se, but benefits, about 21% of benefits would be, or your benefit would be reduced by about 21% and fall to 79% of what it currently is, or what it's currently projected to be. So there is, a need to make a change to the system, and we'll go over some of those changes. One thing I will note is this is the Social Security, this graph here is the Social Security trustees It's from the trustee report, and it showed expenditures or cost exceeding income way back in 2010. But as I showed you in this last slide, that has been an incorrect assumption since you had 10.9 billion that were added to the trust fund last year. Simply, their trustees' projections have been off, but their concern is, as all of you baby boomers are in retirement, and you have a large swath of people in retirement draining out the system, and not enough workers currently working to support those baby boomers in retirement. So what would it take to restore solvency to the system? Well, a couple of proposals, and again, this is very difficult from both the Democrat and Republican side on Social Security reform, right? Increasing the maximum earnings subject to Social Security tax. Well, in 2021, it was 142,800. It's about 10,000 above that today in 2023. And so every year that gets adjusted up. When I started doing this presentation, it was about 110,000, and that was in 2009. Raising the normal retirement age, currently 66 for individuals born between 43 and 54, and 67, and it stair steps up between 54 and 60, and it's 67 for those of us that were born in 1960 or later. This is probably one of the more likely scenarios, just simply because people are working significantly longer than they did in the past. And so if you had to ask me what reform proposal is probably going to gain the most traction, it'd be simply raising full retirement age, maybe beyond 67 all the way up to 70 for future generations. The benefits for future, lowering benefits for future retirees, highly unlikely that you'll see this occur. The reason you probably won't see this occur is because this would be a political suicide maneuver by any type of politician, lowering benefits for people unretired, and the fact that you as a block vote as a percentage of a generation, you are the highest voting generation. So if you wanted to commit political suicide, that would probably be your preferred solvency solution. I don't think that's really going to happen. And reduce the cost of living adjustments to COLAs to make the value of Social Security less in future years. I don't really see that being a realistic proposal either. So I would say that the two probably biggest solvency solutions that are gaining traction in Congress, and they will address this, or they'll have to address this within the next 10 years, is raising that normal retirement age for future generations, for maybe my generation, Generation X, but particularly for the millennials and beyond, and then lowering the benefit, and then increasing the maximum earnings subject to Social Security. Remember Medicare, and I'm doing a Medicare presentation next Monday, so if you have questions on Medicare, please join us then. But Medicare, your tax on your earnings is unlimited in Medicare. And Social Security, it stops at 100, well, in 21, 142.8, but now about 150,000, give or take. You don't pay Social Security earnings above that. So it's very possible that they would increase that number to something like 300,000 or 500,000. So high income earners are putting significantly more into the system. That is probably one that will gain a lot of traction, in my opinion. Bottom line for baby boomers, your benefits are really not likely to be affected by Social Security reform. All right, so what's a clear way to think of Social Security? Social Security is inflation protected income, and you're paid a premium, and you've been paid the premium every paycheck, so be smart about how and when to collect. I want you to think about Social Security as an annuity that has an inflation protection. It's similar to your pension, but not. And we'll talk about how it's different and how it's more secure than your pension at UCSD. It also offers you income you can't outlive. So if your monthly benefit, as an example, today is $2,000 and you live, let's just say 20 more years, you'll receive approximately $660,000 in lifetime benefits. Many of the benefits, when I do a benefit analysis today, many of the benefits, when we do an analysis, somebody that takes their benefit at 70 and assume that they're going to live to 90, many of those folks are seeing benefit amounts well over $1 million. So this really is a bucket of money for retirement that you need to pay close attention to and make sure that you're claiming properly. Also, Social Security offers annual inflation adjustments. So in 20 years, if your benefit's $2,000 a day and the COLA is 2.6, and mind you, the COLA has been significantly higher in the last year, and it will be this year than 2.6 because of inflation. But in 20 years, your benefit would be $33.42. And in 30 years, it'd be over double what your current benefit is today. In fact, it'd be about 120%. That's a sizable difference. And one of the other things about the COLA within Social Security is that it's determined every year based off of inflation numbers by CPIW, the Consumer Price Index for working individuals. And that tends to track U.S. inflation much better than let's say your pension at UCSD, where you get the first 2% and then you get 0.25% for each percent after that. If we're going to be stuck in a high inflationary environment for the next couple of years for whatever reason, then Social Security is going to keep up with that cost of living adjustment much better than pensions and probably the equity markets as well, and investments. So how much can one expect to receive from Social Security? Well, your benefit depends on two main things. How much you've earned over your working career, which you can't go back and redo that. So that is what it is. And then the age at which you apply for benefits. Now, Social Security takes your top 30 years of earnings, right? So if you haven't worked for 30 years and you're looking at retiring after, let's say, 24 years, then you're going to have 6 years where going into the calculation is going to be a 0. So that's one way you can always increase your benefits, is to simply work a little longer, although that's usually not an option people want to hear about. And then claiming your Social Security benefit at a later date can also significantly increase your benefit, and we'll go over that some more here in a second. So how are Social Security benefits calculated, right? So at age 62, each year's earnings are tallied up and indexed for inflation. And like I said, it takes the highest, I think I said 30 years, but I meant 35. Your highest 35 years of earnings are averaged, right? And it creates what's called the AIME, and it's divided by 3 bend points to determine your primary insurance amount, right? Your PIA. This is the amount you receive at full retirement age. So the amount on your statement at your full retirement age is also known as your PIA, or primary insurance amount. And remember, your benefit is increased each year by cost of living adjustments, right? So one of the things, and this is simply just an example of the formula and how it works. You don't need to know this. Social Security will calculate this for you on their own. One of the things a lot of folks ask me, well, is Social Security means tested? Well, yes, it is. It is. You get, and the way it's means tested is through this 3 bend points, or the PIA formula. You can see there, the first amount is multiplied by 90%, and then the second, and then the third, 32 and 15. So the bend points, you got a much steeper angle for a lower income person, meaning you get much more of your benefit if you're a lower income earner than you do if you say, or a maximum income earner. You're not, because each time the bend point moves, it's essentially means tested. So why shouldn't you claim early at 62 instead of delaying full retirement to age 70, right? Well, your monthly benefit will be reduced if you claim early, right? It's called the actuarial reduction. And it can be reduced for taxes and Medicare premiums as well. And benefits can be withheld if you continue to work, if you have ordinary income through a W-2, right? Or 1099 income through working as an independent contractor. They will withhold your benefit if you are prior to your full retirement age. So when should one apply for benefits? Well, factors to consider when deciding to apply: health status. Certainly, I'm not a big proponent of claiming Social Security early, but if one has a health incident or is, has a history of not early family death, then maybe you would want to take Social Security early. Life expectancy fits into that. Need for income. If you plain and simply haven't saved enough for retirement and you have to take the income for Social Security, then you have to take the income. And then, of course, whether or not you plan to work because of the earnings test, and then taking away potentially your Social Security benefit based on income, as I just mentioned. And then finally, on your survivor needs. Okay. Will Social Security be enough to live on retirement? Yeah, probably not for most people here. Okay, so here, let's go through some of those definitions I spoke about earlier. This is a real important one. This is full retirement age, okay? Full retirement age, remember, the amount of your benefit at your full retirement age is also known as your primary insurance amount. So if your year of birth was 43 to 54, your full retirement age would be 66. And then each year from 54 to 1960, it steps up 2 months, right, until you get to 1960 or later, and then your full retirement age is 67. So what if you apply for early benefits? Well, let's just take someone that's full retirement age is 67, and you apply at age 62. You're going to only get 70% of your benefit, right? So you're giving up 30% of your benefit. If you wait till, say, 65, you're going to get 86.7% of the benefit. But if you wait to 67, you're going to get 100% of your primary insurance amount. And more importantly, what if you wait beyond your full retirement age? Let's say your full retirement age is 66, and you apply at age 66, right? Well, you get 100% of your benefit. But each year you delay after that, you get an 8% increase in your benefit, and you get the cost of living adjustment. So if the cost of living adjustment has averaged just under 3%, let's call it 3% flat since 1983, right? You're getting an 11% increase on this pension that you're getting from the United States government, right? Guaranteed by the full faith and credit United States government, guaranteed by the U.S. taxpayer, right? So again, when we talk about, guarantees, whether it's in this month, I'll also be discussing the UCSD pension and 403B and 457 in a subsequent presentation. And I talk about, the guarantee of a pension, right? The guarantee of a pension in UCRP, University of California Retirement Plan, is guaranteed by the California taxpayer. Social Security is guaranteed by all 330 million residents of the United States of America, or at least the ones that are working, okay? And so the guarantees within Social Security, in my opinion, are much better than they are with, and I'm not saying the UCRP is in trouble or is, I'll go over that again, in the later presentation this month. But what I'm saying is, to me, the most secure pension that you will ever have is Social Security, okay? And you get these 8% increases if you delay, and you get the cost of living. Now take that and compound that, right? It makes a really compelling argument to possibly take some investment money, either from your 403B or 457, in place of your taking Social Security early. And we'll talk about why that might be a really good idea in more detail in advanced Social Security, as I kind of bring it all together. So how do you estimate your Social Security benefits? Easiest way is just to go to ssa.gov, right? You don't have to type the whole thing in. You can just put ssa.gov, and you click on the estimate your retirement benefits, right? One of the things I will tell you about when you go to the government website on Social Security, they will estimate your future benefit for you, but they will not add in a cost of living adjustment. So the numbers that you are seeing on your estimate are going to be significantly less than your actual benefit, more so the further away you are from Social Security, okay? So again, why are we delaying benefits? Well, bigger checks to start. We'll just use the example here, the percentage of your primary insurance amount if your full retirement age is 67, right? So that's the second column. And let's look at the age at which benefits are claimed. So if you're 62, right, and your benefit with a COLA, so this chart, by the way, is assuming that you are 62 on this day. And how do we know? Because the benefit's 1960 without the COLA, and it's the same with the COLA. So we're assuming that this is on your 62nd birthday. And you can see in the bottom right here, this assumes the primary insurance amount is $2,800 and 2.6% annual COLAs from age 62. Simply by waiting from 62 to 70, you can increase your benefit from 1960 to 4263. You say, well, what's the difference 1960 and 3472? Because that is what you will see when you go to ssa.gov and you pull up your benefit and it says 62, 67, and 70, right? You're going to see these numbers in this column right here, in the column that says benefit without COLAs. So you're going to see 1960, 2,800, and 3472. But those numbers are incorrect because the government won't assume a future cost of living adjustment. This is what we do in our Social Security analysis that we do for clients and we do for free for UCSD Retirement Association folks and the Maritime Association folks, is that we will estimate this with a COLA that we have discussed with you, or a COLA that you think is going to be relevant for the next 10 to 15 years or however long it is till you retire, right? So why would you delay benefits? Because you get more income later on. If you have benefits at age 70, if you claim at 62, it's 2407. If you claim at 67, it's 3576. And if you claim at 70, it's 4263. But look what happens to the benefit by the time you get to 80. If you claimed at 62, it's only 3111, whereas if you wait to 70, now it's 5511. And this is also one of the most, conservative times from an investing standpoint of your life, right? And so we want to maximize our Social Security benefit best we can. So how do you maximize your benefit? Well, you can start by improving your earnings record. Examine your earnings record from your latest statement. Is it accurate? Are there missing years? And can you improve it by working longer? It's difficult, obviously, to go back and make more money in the past. You can't do that, right? But what you can do is make sure that there is an accurate accounting for what you did make. In my years of doing the Social Security analysis, run into many, many people that had employers, especially if you were working back in the early 80s, mid 80s, and late 80s, the employers that did not report their income accurately. And of course, you can go back to tax returns and get those exact numbers and then give them to to the Social Security Administration so they can correct your record if you need to. Okay. Now we're getting into some of the slides that I'm going to use for next time. We're about 25 minutes in the presentation, so I'm just going to show you one thing here. Share a different screen here. I want to show you, hopefully everyone can see this. This is the Social Security questionnaire that we use. And again, this is Suzanne was always adamant about saying this, but at the beginning of this presentation, this is a free analysis that we do. Again, only for UCSD Retirement and Emeriti Association folks. But this is the questionnaire that we use to do an estimation of a Social Security benefit. During the next presentation, I will actually, excuse me, somebody's going to get during the next presentation, I'll actually go through an actual assessment or a sample assessment so you guys can see how a Social Security benefit fits into an overall retirement plan. But just going through this questionnaire, and we have one for married couples, and then we have one for single as well. You get names, date of birth. If you do end up filling this out and want a Social Security, this primary insurance amount here, I just want you to remember, I've had people put their life insurance death benefit on here before, so I've seen $1 million or 500,000 or whatever. This is, remember, primary insurance amount is simply the amount of your Social Security benefit at your full retirement age, right? So you download your Social Security statement from SSA.gov, and either at 66 or sometime between 66 and 67 or at 67, that number that's on there, that's what you would give me. You're not going to estimate a future number. You would give me that number, because what I'm going to do for you is do the estimation for you, add in the cost of living adjustment, and show you the best and most optimal way to claim your Social Security. One of the reasons we put this down here in the bottom, ever worked in a non-Social Security covered job, there's two things. One's called the government pension offset, right? And one is called the WEP, or the windfall elimination period. And so if you're going to be subject to that, we want to know, because that really goes into determining when you should potentially collect benefits. And then finally, we always have this thing in here about assets and current income, because we want to know if you're going to work and you're going to be subject to the earnings test. And the assets part, and we'll discuss it more in advanced Social Security, is very important, because I want to know if you have other places that you can take from prior to starting your Social Security benefit. And let me go to the whiteboard here, because I just want to, finally share. Can I give you a little, can everybody see the whiteboard here? I hope so. And this is what we really go through in the next presentation, which is, if retirement here, I apologize, I'm not the best at writing on a computer screen when I'm giving a presentation, but if, we take these different buckets, let's call them, that we have in retirement, right? And these all come down and they create what is this is our retirement income down here, okay? And we look at all these different buckets, and we have our pension from UCSD. Maybe we roll everything over into an IRA. Before I continue here, can someone just pop in and tell me if they're seeing the whiteboard and not something else?
We're seeing it.
Anyone mind letting me know? Okay, great, thank you. I appreciate it. All right, so I'm just going through all these different sources of income that, and again, down here at the bottom, this is our mailbox money, right? This is what we live on in retirement. We're no longer earned income through a W-2 or through a 1099, right? So we have all these different sources of income. So let's talk about them real quick. All right, you got a pension, you got Social Security, maybe you got an IRA from 403B or 457. Maybe you have an investment account. Hopefully that's held in a trust if it's not in an IRA of some kind or a beneficiary account of some kind, right? And then maybe over here you have some real estate income or something like that, okay? So let's just talk real quick about the guarantees on these, okay? On the pension, your guarantee is California, okay? Social Security, your guarantee is USA. Your IRA has no guarantee unless you're a private annuity company, right? This is going to be subject to the market, right? And how you invest, and fees and expenses and all those wonderful things that we talk about, all right? And then real estate, last time I checked, goes up. Sometimes it goes down, sometimes it goes up, but it's just guaranteed by the property, right? And more importantly, by the tenants that are in the property, right? Those of you that have ever had a rental income before from a home probably realize that you don't always get 12 months of rental income. There's turnover, there's all kinds of things. And then over here, this is subject to the same risk as the IRA is because it's invested in, bonds, stocks, CDs, whatever it happens to be. The bottom line is the best guarantee of all these are going to be the taxpayer of the United States. Now let's talk about how they're taxed. Well, you got two taxes here in California, right? You've got California state income tax and you got federal, okay? Well, pension has both, okay? You take money out of your IRA, you have both. Real estate income, well, you're going to pay ordinary income on both those. I understand you get depreciation and there's some tax advantages there as well, but I would say I put this in the camp of the other two. And investment income, there can be some, qualified dividends, right? There can be some, so let's do a big check for California since California doesn't consider any income other than ordinary income. There is no capital gain in California. There's no dividend income. It's all ordinary income. And we'll put a little check for US there because you can have tax advantaged income in an investment account, maybe potentially tax-free bonds or long-term capital gains or a dividend rate. All right, how is Social Security taxed? Well, and we'll talk about this more next time, but at the federal level, it's taxed as ordinary income. California does not tax Social Security. Tax rate is 0. So $1 of Social Security is going to be worth more than $1 from your pension. It's going to be worth more than $1 from your IRA, most likely more than $1 from your real estate income, and most likely more than $1 of your investment income. All right. So that makes Social Security again worth a lot more than people think it's worth. So that being said, let me shut down the shares here. And I want to stop it there because, okay, I got the chat up now, and I want to stop it there because I want to make sure I answer any of your questions. I know I go fast on these sometimes because we have so much to cover, and I always want to have you out of here in about 45 minutes because I know a lot of you just take your lunch break to come visit with me. But please, if you can, put it in the chat or just feel free to unmute yourself if you have any specific questions. And again, I will do a brief rundown of this a week from Friday when I do advanced Social Security, but I will also do it with some specific examples, and we'll go over a couple's benefit, we'll go over survivor benefit, we'll go over a couple maxims that you should use when thinking about claiming your Social Security, and we'll go through a sample analysis. So with that, I'll stop there and I'll open for any questions. And you can also, I'll put down here, you can also type questions here. And if you, you don't want to ask a question in front of the whole group here, I'm going to put my email down here. There's also my email if you want to send me an email. Younger spouse, older spouse, collecting Social Security age, which is best time to collect? Okay, Julie, great question. That's one I would want. It's not so much who's the younger or the older spouse. It is who is the higher incomer. And that's exactly what we go through next Friday. Alternatively, you can send me an email. I'd be happy to send you a couple's questionnaire, and then I can pump out an analysis for you right away and send it right back to you. Older spouse, you're saying, is the higher income earner? Is that right, Julie? Okay, great. Thank you for your question. One of the I would say biggest rules of thumb when it comes to maximizing Social Security benefits is for the higher earning spouse to wait to age 70 to collect. And that's because, and we'll discuss this again next time, but the survivor benefit is based off the higher earning spouse's benefit. So if that higher earning spouse, right, so if that person's older and waits till 70, and let's say passes away at 73, the younger spouse, let's say, is 65 when he or she claims at 70, that person, once they reach their full retirement age, would get 100% of the surviving spouse's benefit if they waited to 70. And so that's one of the things I discuss in the next presentation is really understanding that you need to protect the higher income earning spouse should always wait to 70 in most cases because you're protecting the younger spouse in case you pass away first. So I hope that answers your question. If not, again, I'm Oh, okay, great. Sign up. I don't have those links. Haley and Vanya do. And I know it's next a week from this Friday at noon. So same time, I imagine it'll probably be the same link, but Haley can answer that for you if she's still on here. It doesn't look like she is. It will come out to the same way that this link came out. So if you want to write Vanya or Haley there at the RRC, the Retirement Resource Center, then please feel free to go ahead and do that, and they'll get you that link. Worst case scenario, I think you could probably call the RRC, and they will send you the link for. And then I would also encourage all of you that are approaching that retirement time. A week from today, we talk about Medicare. We talk about a lot of really important things that people don't think about going into retirement. Something in particular called the IRMA, the Income Related Monthly Adjustment, which is a surtax if you have a high income year, and it doesn't mean a high income year for making money. It can be simply from selling a home. It could be from selling assets that you have invested. So I would encourage you to join us for that presentation as well, as that really ties in with this one. So if I don't have any more questions, I guess we're done here. And I don't know if Haley can come back to turn off. Oh, I guess she gave me complete control of it. So I'm going to go ahead and end this unless anyone has another question. Thank you, Micah. Thank you, Julie. I appreciate it. Thank you for coming to the seminar. And again, my email is right here. If you want to take that down, I'll leave it up for a couple more seconds here. I'll go dark and stop talking, and I'll leave my email up there. You can also actually, I'm going to put my website down here too, because you can actually download directly from our website. You're welcome, Wendy. Thank you for that. You can actually download the questionnaires directly from our website if you so desire, and shoot it back to me in an email. And then, of course, I'll send you your customized Social Security analysis for your review, and then we can talk about it if you'd like personally, and obviously not in the group. So thank you, everyone, again. I appreciate you coming to the presentation, and we'll see you next Monday for Medicare. Bye now.